Have you ever witnessed a moment that completely changed your perspective on human kindness? A split second where someone's true character was revealed? That's exactly what happened on that windy afternoon in Franklin Park. If this story touches your heart, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more stories that celebrate the beauty of human connection. The autumn air carried a crisp bite as Melissa Morgan hurried across Franklin Park, clutching her portfolio to her chest. At 32, she was finally interviewing for her dream job at the city's most prestigious architecture firm. Everything had to be perfect today: her pressed suit jacket, her carefully prepared portfolio, her confidence that had taken years to build after her divorce left her questioning everything about herself. The playground to her right bustled with afternoon activity, children climbing, swinging, their laughter carried by the same wind that tousled her carefully styled hair. She checked her watch. 20 minutes until the interview that could change everything. That's when it happened. A sudden gust, stronger than the others, caught her off guard. Her portfolio papers fluttered, but that wasn't the worst of it. The wind lifted her A-line skirt high above her knees, exposing her to everyone nearby. Melissa froze, mortified, as her skirt billowed around her waist. The moment stretched into what felt like eternity as she scrambled to push it down with one hand while desperately clutching her portfolio with the other. Heat rushed to her face. She heard a few giggles from the playground. Looking up, she locked eyes with a man standing near the swing set, tall, with kind eyes and a 5 o'clock shadow. A single dad, she guessed, from the protective stance he took behind a little girl on the swings. His expression wasn't amused or judgmental, it was concerned. Before Melissa could fully recover, another gust hit, sending her carefully organized portfolio papers scattering across the park like autumn leaves. "No, no, no," she cried out, abandoning her skirt to lunge for the nearest drawing, her centerpiece design that had taken weeks to perfect. The man by the swings reacted instantly. "Emma, stay here by the bench," he called to the little girl, then sprinted toward the flying papers. Without hesitation, he began gathering them, moving quickly to capture each sheet before they flew beyond reach. Other parents noticed. A few pointed. One mother whispered something to another. But instead of joining the rescue effort, they simply watched. The single dad, however, was tireless. He chased down paper after paper, even crawling under a bush to retrieve one that had become caught in its branches. When he finally returned to Melissa, he had salvaged nearly all of them. "I think I got most of them," he said, slightly out of breath as he handed her the stack. "Are they in order?" "I noticed they were numbered." Melissa stared at him in disbelief. He hadn't just collected her papers, he'd noticed the small numbering system in the corners and arranged them accordingly. You organized them," she stammered. He smiled, a warm gesture that reached his eyes. "I figured they must be important." "Dad!" The little girl, no more than 7, came running over despite his instructions to stay put. "Is the lady okay?" The wind was really mean to her dress. The man knelt to his daughter's level. "Emma, sometimes accidents happen that might embarrass people. When that happens, the kind thing to do is to help if you can, or look away if you can't. Remember how we talk about respecting people's dignity?" The little girl nodded solemnly. "This is the lady's important work," he continued. "She needs these papers, just like I need my work files. So we helped, right?" "Right." Emma beamed, proud to be included in the good deed. What the single dad did next truly shocked everyone watching. He removed his light jacket and offered it to Melissa. "The wind doesn't seem to be letting up. Would you like to borrow this? You can return it another day in the park." Several onlookers who had been quietly observing the scene exchanged glances. In a world where people often look away from others' distress, his simple act of kindness stood out sharply. "Thank you," Melissa said, accepting the jacket with tears threatening to spill. "I have an interview in 15 minutes. You have no idea what this means." Dad helps people all the time, Emma announced proudly. He's a teacher at my school, and he says that's what humans are supposed to do. The man looked slightly embarrassed by his daughter's praise. Daniel Parker, he said, extending his hand. And this is my social director, Emma. Melissa Morgan, she replied, shaking his hand. As their fingers touched, something electric passed between them, not romance, not yet, but recognition of kindness in a world that often lacked it. Good luck with your interview, Daniel said. You'll do great. As Melissa walked away, wrapped in the borrowed jacket with her portfolio intact, she felt something she hadn't experienced in years, the warmth of being seen, truly seen, by another person. What neither of them knew then was how this chance encounter would change both their lives forever. The interview went brilliantly. With her confidence restored by a stranger's kindness, Melissa presented her designs with passion and clarity. When asked about her inspiration for the community center design, the centerpiece that had nearly blown away, she found herself speaking about creating spaces where kindness could flourish, where strangers could become neighbors. 2 days later, she returned to the park, Daniel's jacket cleaned and neatly folded. She had no guarantee he would be there, but something told her to try. Sure enough, Emma was on the swings, with Daniel standing watchful nearby. You came back. Emma exclaimed when she spotted Melissa. Daniel turned, surprise and pleasure crossing his face. You found us. I wanted to return this, Melissa said, holding out the jacket. And to tell you I got the job. His face lit up. That's fantastic. Congratulations. Actually, Melissa continued, there's something else. The community center I designed, the one in the portfolio you saved, it's being built. They loved it. And I mentioned your kindness during my presentation. How it reminded me why community spaces matter. Daniel seemed genuinely moved. That's, wow. Dad, can Miss Melissa push me on the swing? Emma interrupted, practical as ever. And so began a friendship that evolved slowly, naturally, into something deeper. Daniel, widowed 3 years earlier, had been raising Emma alone, pouring himself into his work as a middle school science teacher and his role as a father. Melissa, rebuilding after a divorce that had shattered her self-worth, had focused exclusively on her career. Neither was looking for love. But sometimes life brings people together in unexpected ways, through a gust of wind, a flying portfolio, and an act of simple human decency. 6 months later, Daniel invited Melissa to a school science fair where Emma was presenting a project on wind energy. Inspired by the day we met, Emma explained seriously, pointing to her display. Wind can cause problems, but it can also create power and bring good things. As they stood together, watching Emma proudly explain her project to the judges, Daniel reached for Melissa's hand. She's right, you know. That wind brought something good into our lives. The community center broke ground a year after that fateful day. Melissa's design featured a circular central courtyard with a sculptural windbreak, artistic metal panels that caught the wind and transformed it into gentle music. During the groundbreaking ceremony, she invited Daniel and Emma to turn the first shovel of dirt alongside her. This building will stand as a testament to how a small act of kindness can grow into something that serves an entire community, she said in her speech. Sometimes life knocks us down, or blows our skirts up, the crowd chuckled, but it's how we respond to those moments, and how we help each other through them, that defines us. What shocked everyone wasn't just how Daniel had responded that windy day in the park. It was how that single moment of kindness spiraled outward, touching life after life. The community center became a hub for a neighborhood mentorship program that Daniel helped develop. Melissa's firm took on more community-focused projects. Emma started a kindness club at her school. When Daniel finally proposed 2 years later, he did it in the completed community center courtyard, with Emma holding a handmade sign that read, "Will you be my bonus mom?" The wind chimes Melissa had designed sang softly above them as she said yes through tears of joy. Their wedding, held in that same courtyard, became a celebration not just of their love but of the chain reaction that can follow from a single compassionate choice. The guests included people whose lives had been touched by the ripple effects of that day, students from Daniel's classes, colleagues from Melissa's firm, families who used the community center, and yes, even a few parents who had witnessed the original incident and had since become friends. Life isn't perfect for their blended family. They face challenges, disagreements, moments of doubt. But they face them together, with the understanding that kindness isn't just a nice idea, it's a choice that must be made daily, sometimes in the face of embarrassment, inconvenience, or fear. 5 years after the wind lifted her dress, Melissa stood in their kitchen, watching through the window as Daniel taught Emma how to fly a kite in their backyard. The wind caught it, lifting it high above the trees. "You have to work with the wind, not against it," Daniel called out, his voice carrying through the open window. "Sometimes what seems like a problem can lift you higher." Melissa placed a hand on her growing belly, feeling their second child kick. Life had come full circle. A random gust of wind had exposed her at her most vulnerable moment, but it had also blown her toward her greatest happiness. And that's the thing about life's embarrassing moments, dear viewers. They can be the very instances that lead us to our greatest blessings. Sometimes, the wind that threatens to knock us down is the same force that eventually lifts us up. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Share in the comments a time when someone's kindness made all the difference in your life. Remember, we never know when a small act of decency might change someone's entire world. Because sometimes, the most shocking thing isn't a scandal or a tragedy, it's the simple power of human kindness in a moment of need.